driving when you're behind the wheel, then you'll eliminate the risks of distracted driving. Now, some driver distractions are obvious, while others seem like simple tasks that take only a second. Think about this. After an accident, how many times have you heard someone say, I only looked away for a second? That's right, even a second greatly reduces your reaction time. A second is all it takes for a fatality to happen. This program will help you become aware of the everyday multitasking you do behind the wheel, which puts you and your students' lives at risk. Don't become a statistic. Please pay close attention to the life-saving tips presented in this program and stay focused on driving when you're behind the wheel. In the last decade, the number of distractions that can affect your driving has increased. In fact, the proportion of fatalities associated with driver distraction has increased dramatically over the years. Multitasking has become a part of our busy lifestyles. There's so much to do and think about that we're easily distracted while driving. We now have cell phones, iPads, GPS, DVD players, and laptop computers that are causing thousands of distracted driving accidents every year. Focusing on any non-driving activity has the potential to distract the driver from the primary task of driving and increases the risk of an accident. There are three main types of distraction: visual, taking your eyes off the road; manual, taking your hands off the wheel; and mental, taking your mind off of what you're doing. The most dangerous type of distractions involve all three impairments. That is, taking your eyes off the road, your hands off the wheel, and your mind off of driving, all at the same time. If that sounds unreasonable, just think about texting while driving. That's a common example that distracts you in all three ways. But remember, you're in control of driver distractions. In safety best practices, we talked about how people cause accidents, partly because they fail to pay attention. This is true for driver distractions because...
Wait a second. Not all driver distractions are within my control, right?
That's true. Some things happen that are outside of your control, but your level of preparedness and concentration make all the difference. If you're not distracted and you're paying attention to the road, then your chances of an accident are greatly reduced.
So what can I do to stay focused and resist getting distracted? I mean, students are a good example. They talk and ask me questions while I'm driving, and they're always making noise.
Of course, sure. But let's back up. In just a bit, we'll talk about specific things you can do to avoid some common driver distractions. But for now, it's important to understand that you're in control of whether you choose to be distracted on the road. That's the first step. In safety best practices, we learn that safety is defined as freedom from risk. If you avoid driver distractions, then you're free from the risk of a distraction-related accident. Like if you never drink and drive, you're free from the risk of having an alcohol-related accident. On that note, numerous studies have shown that using a cell phone while driving, whether it's handheld or hands-free, delays a driver's reactions as much as having a blood alcohol concentration at the legal limit of 0.05%. You wouldn't drink and then drive your students, would you? So why would you put them at the same risk by becoming distracted while driving? It doesn't matter if you're using a hands-free device. Simply engaging in a conversation with someone on the phone is a major mental distraction. This is just one example. So let's stop now and discuss some of the other numerous driver distractions.
Okay, we can type in the comments. What are some common driving distractions you face as a bus driver? Hello? Okay. Somebody said other vehicles, cell phone use, visual, mental, other cars, fighting, yelling, kids not staying in the seats, Issues with students talking on the cell phone and texting. Nobody should be talking on the cell phone and texting. Weather, dashboard down, radio, people using, not supporting. All those are good examples of distractions on the school bus. What are 3 different types of distractions or ways you can be impaired? I'm going to say visual, mental, taking hands off the wheels, mental, visual, mechanical. Visual, mental. All those are good examples.
Did you think of some common driver distractions? There are plenty to choose from, but here's a list of some of the greatest temptations. Using cell phones and other handheld devices, looking at maps or the GPS, reaching for objects, talking to students and looking in your rearview mirror at students, eating or drinking, grooming or looking at yourself in the mirror, looking at people, advertisements, or objects on the roadside, staring at vehicle gauges, and adjusting your seat or mirrors while driving. These are just a few common visual and manual distractions. They seem like simple tasks, but like we said earlier, it's only a matter of time before your luck runs out.
So it sounds like if I just keep my eyes on the road and my hands on the wheel, then I'm safe from driver distractions.
Not exactly. Like you mentioned, you can be distracted by students. And let's not forget about the mental distractions. Lots of times we think about other things while we're driving. We might even zone out and not even know what we're thinking about. This is called daydreaming. If you've had a bad day or if you're upset about something, then sometimes your emotions and worries distract you while you're driving. Some mental distractions include thinking about your to-do list, rehashing a conversation you had with someone, worrying about a personal problem, becoming angry at another driver, listening to a talkative student, or trying to solve a student's problem. Thinking about things other than driving takes away from your mental focus and your driving skills. Some distractions take more time than others. Some might only take a second. Let's talk about how 1 second impacts your reaction time. Your total stopping distance is equal to perception distance plus reaction distance plus braking distance. Besides the amount of time it takes for the bus to physically come to a stop after you've applied the brake, you also have to consider how far your bus goes while you recognize a reason to stop. While you see and think about stopping, the vehicle's still moving. That's called perception distance. Reaction distance is how far the bus travels while you take your foot off the accelerator and put it on the brake. The average reaction time is about 3/4 of a second with your brake covered and 1.5 seconds without your brake covered. So if you look away for just 1 second, guess what? You won't have time to stop. Driving while distracted greatly reduces your reaction time. You can increase your reaction time by paying attention to the road at all times. And remember, most of the time, you have a choice regarding when and how often you multitask when driving. So your exposure to risk is within your control.
What is a common driver distraction? Yep, put A, B, or C. What is a common driver distraction? Somebody put daydreaming. Daydreaming not even much one of the answers. Let's see. I got more C's. I'm gonna put C. Looking at maps or GPSs is a common driver distraction. What is a common mental distraction? A, B, or C? What is a common mental distraction? screen. I got C. That's correct. A reduction of 1 second in your reaction time can A, B, or C. B. A lot of y'all said C, but you was wrong.
Now that we've covered what distracted driving is, along with some of the common distractions, it's time to discuss what you can do to avoid them. It seems simple enough, just don't engage in distracting behaviors. That works in most cases, but there are some things you can do before you drive to cut down on the need for distractions. We'll discuss how to handle a distraction that's outside of your control, like a talkative student. But first, let's briefly discuss the distractions that are easiest to avoid. These are often a combination of visual, manual, and mental distractions, which are the most dangerous. When using cell phones and other handheld devices, the worst distraction is trying to dial or text. These actions involve all three types of distractions. You should never, ever even contemplate dialing or texting while driving. Most transportation companies have policies that restrict the use of such devices. Make sure you're familiar with your location's policy on cell phone and other handheld device usage. The best course of action for you as a school bus driver is to simply avoid using these devices while driving. Many times after an accident, especially a serious accident, the police will review your cell phone records and see if you were on the phone or texting when the accident happened. If you were, this would greatly increase the charges brought against you. The next is reaching for objects. Really, you need to keep both hands on the wheel. Resist the urge to reach for objects while driving. If there's something you need right away, then pull over before you attempt to reach for it. Eating or drinking. There's no reason to eat or drink while you're behind the wheel. You should plan ahead and make sure you have enough time for your meals before you drive. If you're thirsty, wait until your next stop before you take a drink. Grooming or looking at yourself in a mirror. Remember, safety is your #1 priority. As long as you follow your location standards for school bus work attire, and it doesn't matter what you look like every single moment. Now we'll cover some distractions that are a bit more complex, including looking at a map or GPS. You should always prepare before you drive by reviewing your map or programming your GPS. Don't use maps or program the GPS while you're driving, plain and simple.
What if I get lost?
If you get lost and need to review your directions, then pull over. You should contact dispatch and let them know you're having trouble, but only after you've pulled off to a safe location. The next group of distractions are mental distractions, or things that take away your concentration. They include thinking about your to-do list, rehashing a conversation you have with someone, worrying about a personal problem, or becoming angry at another driver. While you're driving, you need to learn to focus your attention. If you find your mind drifting, take a deep breath and refocus. It might take a few tries, but eventually your mind will stay focused. The key is to catch yourself when your mind drifts, and this takes practice. You also need to avoid angry driving. If another driver cuts you off or performs some other unsafe maneuver, you must let it go. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that other drivers don't have the professional training you do. To keep everyone safe, you must be the responsible one and let it go.
What are some things you can do to refocus your attention if your mind drifts? And why is this important? Switch on right. I don't know why you don't see nothing, because the question's on the same screen that the video is playing. Click on my name. My name should be up there twice, and you should see everything. Somebody said take a deep breath, breathe. Have to stay alert. Breathe, count to 10. Deep breath. Take a deep breath. Must stay alert. Set your mind free. Why is it important that you do that? Somebody said stop, take a deep breath, pray, pull in a safe area for a few moments if necessary. That's a good one, Ms. Kim. To concentrate, to keep focused, to refocus. The safety to others. Driving is what you need to stay focused. Take a deep breath. Avoid by refocus. All those are good examples. What are some things you can do to prepare before you drive to help reduce distractions? What are some things you can do to prepare before you drive to help reduce distractions? That's a good one, Alvarado. Know your route. Read maps ahead. Know where you're going. Review your route before you're getting on the bus. Get a good night rest. Know where you're going. Study your route. Know your route. Set your GPS. Know where you're going. Eat and drink before. All those are good examples.
Talking to students and looking in your rearview mirror at students is another distraction that's both mental and visual. This includes listening to a talkative student or trying to solve a student's problem. If a student is chatty and expects you to have a conversation, you should politely say to them, "I need to focus on my driving right now, and I can't give you the attention you deserve."
But I thought one of my main priorities was to be friendly and helpful. How can I do that if I don't take the time to listen or solve their problems?
Your first and highest priority is safety. You care about your passengers, and one of the ways we show that is by driving safely. If a student has a problem that needs to be resolved, you need to tell them that your job is to keep them safe and that you'll be glad to help resolve their issue when the vehicle is parked. If the issue needs resolved right away, then pull over to a safe location and deal with the issue. Some other common distractions that drivers fall victim to are looking at objects or people on the roadside, staring at vehicle gauges, and adjusting your seat or mirrors while driving. You probably have good intentions if you do these things, but they're aimed at maintaining the vehicle and being aware of your surroundings, but they're still distractions. Your eyes should remain focused on the road ahead, and you must refrain from staring at objects, scenery, or other people along the roadside, especially if it's just out of curiosity. If you use the tools from LLC, Look Ahead and Look Around, you'll focus on the driving challenges, and this will prevent you from being distracted.
Okay, so remain focused on the road ahead, but how does that make me aware of all my surroundings?
That's a great point. To be aware of your surroundings, you have to constantly move your head and eyes to see everything around the bus. Look around for other cars, pedestrians, and fixed or movable objects on or near the road. Make sure you look around while turning and anticipate other drivers' actions or what pedestrians might do. Look around means change what you're looking at every 3 to 5 seconds. That's different from a fixed stare or looking back repeatedly at the same object. You should also refrain from staring at or inspecting your gauges while driving. You should have checked your gauges during your pre-trip inspection, but if a warning light comes on during your route, pull over immediately and investigate it. Don't ever try to problem solve while you're driving. Finally, sometimes drivers are distracted by trying to adjust the seat or mirrors while driving. As a school bus driver, you should always adjust your seat and mirrors during your pre-trip inspection. This eliminates any need to make adjustments while driving.
With so many driver distractions that are under our control,
Why do people still do it?
Even though it's dangerous, there are a lot of reasons for distracted driving. Busy lifestyles, stressful jobs, and the presence of students on board are all factors. Plus, we're used to relying on technology such as cell phones, GPS, and other electronic devices. But the main reason is that often we feel exempt from practicing safe behaviors. Think of teenagers. They think they're untouchable, that they're invincible. Adults have the same mindset when it comes to distracted driving. We think we have things under control and that it won't happen to us. But that's just not the case. It's only a matter of time before the unsafe, distracted driving behaviors catch up to you. Everyone on the road is tempted by distractions. And as a school bus driver, you must remain focused and alert while driving. If you avoid distractions, you'll have a better chance of reacting when the other driver looks away for that 1 second. Today we learned that distracted driving is any non-driving activity that has the potential to distract you from the primary task of driving and increases the risk of an accident. We learned that there are 3 main types of distractions: visual, taking your eyes off the road; manual, taking your hands off the wheel; and mental, taking your mind off what you're doing. Awareness is the first step toward avoiding distractions, and it's important to understand that you're in control of whether you choose to be distracted on the road. A few common visual and manual distractions are using cell phones and other handheld devices, looking at maps or the GPS, reaching for objects, talking to students and looking in your rearview mirror at students, eating or drinking, grooming or looking at yourself in a mirror, looking at objects or people on the roadside, staring at vehicle gauges, and adjusting your seat or mirrors while driving. A few mental distractions are thinking about your to-do list, rehashing a conversation you had with someone, worrying about a personal problem, becoming angry at another driver, and trying to solve a student's problem. You can avoid driver distractions by planning ahead and being prepared. Never look at maps or GPS while driving. Always prepare before you drive by reviewing your route or programming your GPS ahead of time. If you become lost, pull over and call dispatch. To avoid mental distractions, you must learn to focus your attention. If you find your mind drifting, take a deep breath and refocus. You care about your passengers, and one of the ways you can show that is by driving safely. If a student has a problem that needs to be resolved immediately, pull over to a safe location. Remember, your first priority is safety. Remain focused on the road ahead and refrain from staring at objects, scenery, or other people along the roadside. A thorough pre-trip inspection can help prevent driver distractions. Always check your gauges and adjust your seat and mirror so you won't be distracted during your route. The bottom line is, you're driving a school bus. Focus on this one activity at all times and nothing else.
The 3 types of driver distractions are A, B, or C. Let me get to the comments. The 3 types of driver distractions. Said B. That's correct. Distracted driving is a non-driving activity that has the potential of distracting you from A, B, or C. See A, a couple of B's. I guess I'm gonna go with A. It's A. Distracted driving has increased over the years because I see A, I see C, C, B, C. C, C. C. What type of distraction involves taking your eyes off the road? Let's see, A, okay. What type of distraction involves taking your hands off the wheel?
Manual.
Let's see, B. Correct. What type of distraction involves taking your mind off what you're doing? Let's see. One thing you can do to help prevent mental distractions is to A, B, or C. See B, I see C, B, B. How can you prepare ahead of time to avoid distractions? Using a cell phone while driving delays a driver's reaction and is the same as should be. If a student is chatty and tries to have a conversation with you while you're driving, you should politely explain that you can't talk right now. If a customer has a problem that needs resolved right away, you should I see a lot of B's. Okay. Before I turn it over to Mr. McDaniel, I need like 3 examples. Like, I need 3 people to. Mr. McDaniel's getting ready to talk about post accidents, and I need 3 people to tell us how they prepare themselves after they've been involved in an accident. So, can I get 3 volunteers? Put in the comment me and I unmute you. If not, I'm gonna just call on somebody. No, I need you to tell us out loud. So Gracie, you won. Gracie, you gonna do 1?
I'll do one.
Who said that? Kimberly?
Kim.
Okay. Gracie, are you gonna be number 2? I need 2 more. I need 2 more people. Let me look at this list and I'm gonna call somebody in.
So, Simeon, would you like to repeat your question, please?
Hold on, wait. Let me pick the other 2 people.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me look at this list. Fidel, are you there? Okay, you're gonna be next after Kim, and Rubio, you're gonna be after Fidel. Since nobody volunteered. Okay, go ahead, Miss Kim.
Okay, to my understanding, you said the question was what we would do after an accident.
Yes.
Did
The
I hear
post,
that correctly?
yes, ma'am. The post-accident procedures after an accident.
Okay, after an accident, first of all, we need to make sure that our bus is secured. Do not move the bus for any reason until authorized to move it. We need to first I check to make sure that everyone is okay. Then I contact dispatch to inform them of the incident. Once I do that, we start immediately doing our seating chart uh, to let everyone know where each student is sitting. And it's just a waiting period then once our dispatch and police officer, whoever comes on the scene.
Okay. Fidel.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Oh, hey, just fine. Okay, so besides all that, so stay with the bus, make sure all
No,
the
you
children
tell me.
are.
You tell me how you would do
Oh, okay, so the first thing is you contact dispatch and then receive instructions there. Make sure the bus is in a safe place, everything turned off. See if there's any smoke. Make sure um, there are no fires or no hazards. Ensure that the children are all safe and no injuries. Check the seating chart um, and compare that to the route, just so you can determine where you are on your route, because they're probably going to ask you that. Then sit there calmly and wait for the supervisor to arrive, or follow all instructions of the officials that are handling, like the police officers or DPS or whoever's out there. Don't leave until you're um, authorized to leave.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Rubio. I'm not, and don't think I'm calling anyone out. I'm just because we all need to know the correct way to do it. Rubio, can you hear Rubio? Can you unmute Rubio?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
You stay calm, look around, look at your mirrors, make sure that everything's safe. Ask the kids if they're okay. Call in on the radio, let them know what happened. Wait for instructions, and wait for them to tell you what to do. But get the checklist, and I guess start taking pictures if anything's wrong. Get the license plate, or if there's an accident. But basically, make sure the students are okay and bus is okay, it's not smoking, not on fire, and get everything ready. And just wait there, sit there, calm, keep the kids calm.
Okay. Mr. McDaniels, you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna see if I can make this thing go. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, good morning to everyone. Can y'all see me?
Good morning, we can.
All right. Okay. All right. So, hope everyone's well. Good to see everyone. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about post-accident procedures. I've heard everybody's comments and they sound pretty standard and sound like we are aware of how things are supposed to occur. So, with no further ado, we'll go ahead and begin the course. Can everyone hear me fine?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Being involved in any accident is risky, but as a school bus driver, the anxiety you feel is much worse. This can make it very hard to think clearly and respond appropriately. Oh, and if there are any injuries, the stress level goes right through the roof. Just when a clear head and decisive actions are the most important. Now, there have been many cases where incorrect action after an accident has led to further accidents or injuries. If you know what to do and how to do it, then you'll reduce the risk of any further problems. By taking the proper steps, you can help ensure your safety and the safety of your passengers in an accident situation. Now, today, we're going to teach you those essential steps.
So, in the introduction, they talk about teaching us the steps. And everyone has assessed or given their assessment of what our steps are and what we should do. The main thing that's always a major concern is safety of the students and the driver. So while steps could vary due to situations such as a burning bus or whatever, just always keep in mind that you do what's best for that situation, and that's the most correct answer, I think, at the time. While we have a guideline set up in place, we have to always keep in mind common sense is common sense and safety is the first priority. Okay? Y'all hear me? Y'all shake your head, thumbs up. We good?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
The first step, if you're involved in an accident, is to focus on the immediate safety of the passengers and yourself. The most important rule is, if at all possible, keep everyone on the bus until alternate transportation arrives and everyone can exit safely. Let me repeat that. Keep everyone on the bus.
Okay, I realize we want to keep the kids on the bus for their own safety, but when should we evacuate them?
Okay, as we said in the last course, only evacuate the bus if the bus is on fire or fire is suspected, the bus is in the water or in danger of going in the water, or the bus is in a dangerous position in the roadway where it could be struck by another vehicle or tip over. If any of these conditions exist, evacuate the students as quickly as possible to a safe place. Follow the practices taught in the emergency evacuation program.
What happens if power lines are falling on or near the bus?
Then it's even more important that the students stay on the bus. Again, follow the procedures in the power lines course. If the bus does need to be evacuated, then you should first secure the vehicles. If the bus can be moved and it makes sense to do so, move it to the side of the road immediately. If the bus is in no danger of being struck by other vehicles, keep the children on the bus. Children are actually safer if left on the bus in almost all situations. Following any accident, students are likely to be anxious, perhaps frightened and unsure what to do. If you stay calm, this will help them to calm down. Speak clearly and calmly, and tell them to stay calm and to stay on the bus. Quickly check for any injuries. Ask the students if everyone is okay. Don't ask if anyone is hurt. This may scare the children. Even though this is an accident situation, you want to remain positive and stay calm. After the bus is secured, tell the students to stay on the bus and to sit down. Radio in that you're securing the scene and will radio when you return to the bus. Take the keys with you. Make sure you walk 500 feet if there's a bend or a hill. Then set out warning devices. These devices warn other motorists to proceed with caution, which will help prevent additional accidents. Now we're going to give you some practice in assessing the situation. A few scenarios will be presented to you. Your job is to identify the steps you would take to secure the bus and your passenger.
What steps would you take to secure the vehicle and the passengers, considering you just had a major collision? What steps would you take again, considering now you've had a dual major collision? Because one car has created a scenario where another one has hit something and obstructed the entire pathway. So with this particular incident, we see somebody coming off an entranceway or getting on an entranceway, trying to get onto the expressway and runs into the side of the bus. All three of these scenarios thus far have some similarities and then they have some differences. So what do you think so far? Anyone? So I see pull your brake. I see move to the side of the road. Okay. So the first two scenarios where they were in town in a very congested area, pulling the brake would be, I think, the first priority. It's no side of the road to get to in town. Now, in this scenario, we want to definitely pull over to the side of the road, secure the bus and pull over to the side of the road because of traffic and the possibility of further collisions occurring. Because this could be on an incline and there may be some kind of road obstruction where you can't see very far in front of you. So anybody have anything else? I see pull brakes. Check and make sure everyone is okay. Very good, Francis. Because the first two may have not been a major impact, but this last one where you hit the side of the bus, that's going to be dead on with kids. Some kids could be impacted, very much so. Put out reflectors, very good. Once you stop, you're going to have to put out reflectors. Does anyone know off the top of their head what's the distance on the reflectors? The distance when you put out reflectors from the back of the bus, 200 to 500, okay. 10, I see somebody says 10, 100 to 200. 10 and 500. 100 to 500. Well, that depends on if it's on an incline or not. So we are definitely thinking now. Very good. Very good. Okay. So we're going to move on. All right. So next steps.
Once you've secured the bus, determine if there are any injuries and the extent of damage to the bus. Use your radio to call your dispatcher. If you don't have a radio, use your cell phone or ask someone at the scene to call. Give the dispatcher the following information: 1, bus number; 2, route number; 3, school; 4, location; 5, number of students on board; 6, information about student injuries; 7, if an ambulance is required; 8, if the police have been called; 9, if the bus can be driven; 10, if you'll need backup to transport the children to school. Dispatch will contact the police and an ambulance if they've not already been called.
Okay. So you have 10 steps that are very crucial, and it says the next step is to practice filling out an accident report form. Well, can anyone tell me those first 10 steps? Not reciting them, but could you give me a scenario of some of those steps changing? We talked about that earlier. Do you think that those steps are pretty much in concrete, or is there a scenario where they could possibly change? Those first 10 steps that we just got through talking about. Do I need to rewind? Do I need to go to previous? Fire. Okay, very good, Joseph. Very good. Fire. If severe injuries, water. Say for instance, the bus gets flooded. Severely injured child. Very good. So, and railroad crossings. So what I'm after and what I'm trying to make sure that we understand is, yes, always know the procedures, but always know that in the event of a severe circumstance or an extreme case, you may have to deviate. You have to be comfortable with making that deviation, and you have to be clear on your conscience that you did what you did for the best or the safety of the child. Okay? That's all. All right, let's go on.
After you have secured the bus, check if the passengers are okay, and contacted dispatch, you'll need to start exchanging information with the other parties involved in the accident. However, in an accident situation, less is more. The less you say to the other drivers and bystanders involved, the better. You see, an accident is an emotional time. Anything you say has the potential of being used against you and the district. So regardless of the details or the cause of the accident, do not admit liability to anyone. It's in our nature to feel apologetic when an accident happens, and it's good to feel saddened, but by saying you're sorry, you could be admitting guilt and leaving yourself wide open for liability. Only give factual information about the accident to the police and your management. At the scene, refrain from talking to anyone about the accident other than to exchange the following information: the other driver's name and address, their license plate number, their phone number, the type of vehicle that they were driving, the number of occupants in their car, their insurance details, including insurer and policy number, and the names and addresses of witnesses to the accident. Other information that you need to gather is on the accident report form. There should be a copy of this in the vehicle. Part of the form is a student list. Be sure you complete this list. It's important. You should complete the form as thoroughly as possible at the scene while the information is fresh in your mind. When you return to your facility, you'll probably be asked to complete other required paperwork. Remember, only give accident facts to the police and your management. Once again, we're going to give you some practice. This time, we're going to present you with a few scenarios of interactions between bus drivers and other drivers who've been involved in an accident. Your job will be to judge the interaction to determine if the driver said too much.
Are you okay?
Yeah, but what happened?
I didn't even see you behind me. I'm sorry. I should break sooner.
So you admit it was your fault.
So what do y'all think? It says, what should the driver have said this or done in this situation? What do you think? Say don't say nothing. Well, I mean, I see don't say nothing. Some people say no. Keep your mouth shut. Just yeah, it's okay. All right. Well, here's the deal. Here again, we say what's less is more, and whatever you feel comfortable saying, just know that depending on the individual, that could be used against you. So she said, I'm sorry. That's a pretty standard statement. That can be misconstrued to say that you're guilty, but by the same token, most people say, I'm sorry, and when they're talking to people, if they have to interrupt or interject. So that could be defended. But he's asking her a question. He's trying to trap her. He's saying, so are you saying it's your fault? What should your response be? And it says, mind your business. Okay. Some people say no. Ariana said something a little different. Stay in your vehicle until the supervisor, police, keep quiet. Okay. So what I'm getting at, that's very good. You have choice to stay in your vehicle. You have a choice to, I mean, it's very human to want to check and make sure the other driver's okay and make sure that everything's all right. So, I mean, it's quite natural for you to just say, well, at this point, I'm not going to discuss anything else until my supervisor arrives. Be nice. It's always an opportunity for you to show people that you're nice, but be skilled in how you're being nice. Be very skilled in it. Be very clear and concise when you say, well, I think at this point, I'm just going to not say anything else. You look okay. I'm okay. Thank you. And I'll go back to my vehicle or I'll stand right here. But I don't think I'm going to say anything else. You can speak with my supervisor. And that way, because you never know where these things lead to. I mean, they could be employed at another location that could impact you somehow or some way. So that we don't ever want to burn any bridges. We need everybody in this world. So just be nice and just say, I'll wait and talk to my supervisor. Okay. All right. Let's move to the next one.
What the hell were you thinking? What was I thinking? It was not my fault. That light was yellow when I went through it. You were in a red light.
Oh, you think so, huh? Well, we'll just see about that.
Okay. So we have a little bit of passion, a little bit of anger, anxiety. This is usually not good. Things are usually said that people later regret. It's best that you stay with your children and make sure that your children are safe there if there are children on the bus. But when you can't let the other party own the bus, you know that. So what I'm getting at here is that the frustration is understandable, but as a professional driver, as an adult, you have to be the bigger person and handle this the correct way. That's not always easy. I'll be the first to admit and understand, me being temperamental myself, I have said some things, but my point is that you've got to be aware of your surroundings at all times. And in this situation, I think that that's unnecessary because all it can do is escalate. I've had, on a personal note, I've had to report to a wreck, and I've had a gentleman say something to me that I didn't like, and he refused to give me any information, and luckily my supervisor arrived shortly thereafter. And I told him, okay, sir, thank you. You have a good day. And we'll just wait for the police to arrive. And so when the police arrived, things kind of started going a little different, and he wanted to give me information and he wanted to talk to me. And my supervisor was looking at me kind of like, well, Norris, you should visit with that person. And I'm like, no, sir, I've already tried to visit with that individual. He was he became upset and he was derogatory, and I don't feel comfortable talking with him at this point. You may talk with him, but I feel that it's better that the police have this conversation because they have more control of the situation than I do. At that point, it was resolved. We took whatever blame we had in the situation, and so did they. So what I'm getting at, and all I'm saying is, you have to be comfortable with your surroundings. You have to be comfortable enough to know what to say, what not to say, and to not allow people to draw you into a situation where you act inappropriate. Okay? All right, got to stay cool. You keep the door closed, but you got to open the door when the police comes. And you have to, say, for instance, the fireman comes. You're going to still have to open the door. It's EMT, the fireman, and the police are all on the scene along with the supervisors. But at no time, I repeat, at no time can you let the parents or the person that you had contact with get on the bus until a supervisor or someone authorizes you to do so, or the police. So it would have to be the supervisor or the police. Now, earlier, just going back to something, rehashing something, it said something about practice filling out a report. There is no practice on filling out the report because our supervisors do the report with you. So let's be clear on that. We do the report so that we make sure we give the correct information over to our superiors. So you don't have to worry about filling out a report as much as you have to make sure that you do the seating chart. That is crucial. That's your reasonable request, the seating chart. Stay on that, keep that up to date, keep that as most current as possible, because you never know when these things are happening. Okay, let's go on to the next one.
Wow, what a mess. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Are you okay?
I'm fine, I think.
How are the kids?
The kids seem to be fine.
You know this was not my fault.
Okay. Well, let's just exchange our information, and then when the authorities get here, they can determine who's at fault.
That was perfect. That was perfect. She didn't avoid the issue, but she stuck to the subject. One concern that I have in this is the kids. We don't need to leave the kids on a bus running. We need to make sure that if we have to get off the bus to go talk with students, talk with the person that you had a collision with, that you turn the bus off. Take the keys with you. Ask the students to sit down and stay under control, because there are a lot of things that can happen in this quick process. It would probably be best for the policeman or your supervisor to get that information and you stay with the kids. I'm not going to say that she shouldn't be talking to him, because that situation may warrant it. We can't never say what kind of situation we're going to be put in, because if we do, we usually fail then, because it's always something that comes up different. So I'm going to say, okay, she felt the need or compelled to get out and exchange information with this gentleman. That's fine. But preferably stay on the bus, stay with the students, allow the supervisor or the policeman that arrives on the scene to do this. It's good to check on each other. That's great because we don't want harm to come to anyone. But it's best to stay on the bus. I want to make that clear with the students. That's your job. That's your first priority. You and them must be safe. Okay? That's very true, Miss Harding. Most of the time they're upset. That is your job to calm them down. Anybody? Got anything else? Come on. I can't be doing that good. Somebody got something to say? Anybody? All right. We're going to move on then. All right. Summary.
Today, you've learned the steps you need to take in the event that you're involved in an accident. We hope you're never in this situation, but if you are, remember, first, secure your vehicle and your passengers. This requires you to check for injuries, decide whether to move the bus, and whether or not to evacuate the children. You should also set out warning devices for other drivers. Next, use your radio to call dispatch. If you don't have a radio, ask someone from the scene to call for you. Lastly, do not discuss the accident with anyone other than the police and your school district official. And when you do, give only the accident facts. Don't speculate about what you think happened, and don't accept or place blame.
I have a camera on my cell phone. Should I take pictures of the scene, the damaged vehicle, and anything else that might be of use?
Of course, your first priority is to make sure the students are safe and that the bus is secure. But if you have time and can safely take pictures, then yes, take a few shots of the vehicle, their locations, and anything else that you feel is pertinent. At an accident scene, as always, the student safety is our top priority. Thank you for your commitment to safety.
So before we take the quiz, is it your responsibility to take pictures? Is it your responsibility to obtain information from the other party? Thank you, everybody. I see all the great answers. So what is your primary function in when and if there's a collision? What is your primary function? Kids, student safety, be the driver, kids, very good, very good. Something to keep in mind. We, meaning Mr. C and myself, have gone to numerous trainings to assess scenes. And then the policemen, they have also gone to numerous trainings and more extensive training to even see about skid marks and distances and stuff like that. What I'm getting at and what I'm saying is that it's great to speculate, to think that you know what happened and how it happened and this, that, and the other. Obviously, you don't want points on your record. Obviously, you don't want to be the one that's wrong unless you admit it firsthand. So we understand all of that. But what happens is you don't want to bring in the speculation anything about this situation, because just like you're saying or defending yourself, that could turn around and work against you. So stick to the facts, try to remain calm, take care of the kids, be patient, know that in certain situations, we're going to have to go do a drug test. You're on the clock. It's not personal. In certain situations, we are required to take you to do a drug test. That's gonna delay your day. That's gonna also delay our day. So it's something that happens though. We have to go do that. It is by law required. If you're going to keep this job, you're gonna have to go do this drug test, whether it be at 8, 9, 10, 12, 1 or 2 in the morning. It's gonna happen. So If you refuse, then that's considered an automatic positive, and the consequences for that we'll have to discuss at a later date. But these are things that will occur. So please understand, you don't have an option. If you have a collision, if it is required that we do a DOT drug test, we are going to have to do it. You're going to either comply or there's going to be other things done. Okay? Any questions on that? All right. All right. Let's move on to the final quiz. If you know the accident was your fault, you should tell the other driver that you accept the fault. True or false? I hear y'all in the other room. False. Yeah. Yep. All right. What you should do is you should allow the people, the professionals in the matter, to assess the issue and make their determination. Very good. The first step in an accident situation is to secure your students and your accident report, personal belongings, or bus. Which one do you think? I see lots of A's. Definitely the bus. Thank you. All right. Next one. You should obtain insurance information from the other driver involved. This includes gathering which two pieces of information? The insurer and policy number, the policy date and policy number, the policy date and insurer. I see some A's, insurer and policy number. I see a C, policy date and insurer. Okay. I'm going to go with A because you're going to need to know that it's State Farm and you're going to have that policy number. If it's good, we can always go back and get the date or the most up-to-date policy. Okay. But if we don't have that policy number, we are dead in the water. So, or the insurer. So let's I'm going to stick with A. All right. Okay. Warning devices are primarily used to advise the police, other responders of where to park, notify other drivers to prevent additional accidents, set a perimeter around the students to establish a safe area. Warning devices are primarily used for which one? What do you think? Advise the police, notify other drivers, or set a perimeter around students? I see a very strong consensus. B, notify drivers to prevent additional accidents. Yes, because you're out on the road, it could be dark, it could be foggy, and first priority is not making contact, then therefore that's automatically going to set up a perimeter. That's going to automatically keep the kids safe. So yes, definitely B. All right. When checking for injuries, you should say, is everyone okay? Is anyone hurt? Has anyone broken anything? See a consensus again of A. Is everyone okay? All right. All right. Very good. Why would you not say, is anyone hurt? What do you think? Anyone?
Everybody will say they hurt then.
Everyone would say they were hurt. They would need to ride. What else does that do when you say, is anyone hurt? It heightens the intensity of the situation. So what happens is you got little bitty kids, kindergartners, first graders. You say they're hurt. Oh my God. Yeah, my lip, my tooth. I mean, they just go into all sorts of things that may not be pertaining to the situation at hand. So yeah, they might be hurt from playing basketball yesterday. They might bring that up. You know, you might get it all confused. So it's best to ask, is everyone okay? And leave it at that, okay? All right. Very good. Okay. Looks like we are finished. You are now, I am going to quickly turn you back into the hands of Mr. Gates. Let me see here. Let's see. Stop presenting. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I do thank y'all for y'all's attention. Everything was great. We got through this without any problem, and appreciate all of everyone's help. It's good to see everybody back. Hope that you are doing well. Stay safe, and make sure that you wash your hands and keep everything safe. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. McDaniel.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Before I let you go, I just want to go over a couple things with you all. Don't forget.
Do I need to sign anything? What's your name again? Benigno Munoz.
Before I let you go, I want to go over a couple of things with you guys. Don't forget that we need to, that you all